Welcome to the Wind Up with Will. I'm your host, Will, and today I'm bringing you another video talking about sports. If you don't know, Caitlin Clark is lighting the world on fire with her scoring. She's the best women's player in the nation right now, and you can maybe argue the best college athlete in the world right now. She's a phenomenal player. I got to see her a little over a week ago, not this past Thursday, but the following, or the previous, not this Thursday, but the Thursday before that. I went and saw her and Iowa play Indiana. Indiana won the game 86 to 69, I think, or it was 85. No, it was I think it was 85-69. It was probably Caitlin's worst game of the year, and she was still one assist away from a triple double. She had 20 of Iowa's 33 points at halftime. She only scored 4 points in the second half, so it was kind of a disappointing game. A little bit, at least for me. I was hoping to see her score 30 or 40 points, but still phenomenal player. She made some amazing passes in that game and was really keeping Iowa in it in the first half. Kind of went cold in the second half, but Iowa as a team did not shoot well. Indiana played phenomenal defense in that game. They shut them down, and Indiana fans were into that game. That was a packed out arena of like 18,000 fans. Phenomenal atmosphere there. Makes me want to go back to see another game there at Assembly Hall. Super awesome atmosphere. Great game. I enjoyed it. Um, but Indiana showed that they're capable of being a top 10 team in the nation. I think they didn't move up at all in the AP poll from that. I don't know why, but Iowa has bounced back since then. They've beat Nebraska. Was it Nebraska? Let me pull up their recent games. They played. No, it was Minnesota. I think. Pretty sure that was Minnesota that they played since then. Okay, so they've played 3 games now since then. They played Illinois at home. They beat them 101 to 85. They played at Minnesota and beat them 108 to 60. In that game, Caitlin Clark set the all-time 3-point record in a season for women's basketball. I think it's like 155. I think is what it was, but it's going to continue to grow. She continues to play this season. And then today, her and Iowa beat Ohio State, and the number 2 team in the nation. They beat them 93 to 83. It was a great game. Caitlin Clark scored 35 points in that game. But the big storyline out of that is not well. There's two big storylines of that. Iowa, by beating Ohio State, gets the number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament over Indiana, who they lost to. So they needed to win that game. I think that gave them a tiebreaker of some sort. Need to look into that of how they get the tiebreaker there. But I know from what they said that will put them in the 2 seed there. Ohio State holds the 1 seed. That's only their second loss in Big Ten play and only their 4th loss on the season. So that's one story out of it is Iowa gets the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. But perhaps no, not perhaps. The bigger story out of that game is Caitlin Clark setting the all-time scoring record in men's and women's college basketball. Earlier, a few weeks ago against Michigan, she set the all-time record in women's by breaking Kelsey Plum's record. And today she passed Pete Maravich, the Hall of Fame basketball player who played at LSU. She beat his record of 3,667 points. She came in today needing 18 points to break it. She scored 35. The record currently sits at 3,685, but that record is going to continue to grow as she keeps playing. They're gonna. This was the last regular season game, so they're gonna have the Big Ten tournament. So she's gonna get some games in there, and then the NCAA tournament. So we'll see how many points she ends up with. But phenomenal career already, and also this past week she announced that she is going into the WNBA draft. That she will not be coming back for a 5th season at Iowa, but going into the draft. And the Indiana Fever and the women's NBA have the number 1 pick. So when we were actually at the Indiana-Iowa game, Indiana fans were booing her and chanting overrated and whatnot. And I told my friend and my cousin who went with me, I said, they're booing her now, but when the Indiana Fever drafts her, they're going to be cheering her. But yeah, so Indiana Fever have the number one pick in the NBA draft in the WNBA draft, and they will be picking Caitlin Clark. There's no doubt about it. That's who they're going to pick, and I'm excited for that. That she's announced that she's going in this year, and that she's going to that the Indiana Fever are going to select her, kind of a closer team to where I am here in Kentucky. But phenomenal player. She's got several more games ahead of her. So we'll see how many points she ends up with. She's lighting the world on fire with her scoring right now. Some other news in sports is the MLB uniform debacle that is currently ongoing. I don't know if you've followed it any or have even heard about it, but the MLB uniforms that they've brought out for spring training and that they're wanting to use in season, that Fanatics produced, that Nike designed, are horrible, and that MLB signed off on. The pants are see-through. There are some really bad pictures of that, really bad optics. It just looks bad. It looks cheap. It looks like that they didn't care. This looks like something that you would see in a beer league, like a softball beer league, or someone in intramurals, like that they couldn't find a pair of softball pants for the game, so they just got some somewhere and they're see-through. Like it's something like that. But this is Major League Baseball, the highest level of baseball in the world. These are the best players in the world. It makes this league makes the second most revenue of any sports league in the world, only behind the NFL. And the uniforms look like that's something you got at Goodwill to wear to the intramural softball game. It's ridiculous. The pants are see through. It's one thing when the lettering looks weird on the back and is smaller, and they change like little designs here or there on the uniform, and they don't have like the stitch look on the lettering across the front. It just looks like it's kind of sealed on like this, which there's nothing fine with having Murray State shirt, but there's nothing wrong with having a shirt or uniform that has kind of this I don't know what you call it, where it's almost like pressed on. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you have MLB jerseys and this league that has so little changes over time, and these uniforms that are iconic amongst teams, like the Yankees still won't even have player names on the back of their jerseys. They're the only team that doesn't do that. There are rules around it. There's a lot of pride in it. Fans love it. People collect jerseys, and the stitching is just kind of part of the MLB uniform look. So there's nothing wrong with maybe having a jersey that has kind of the press on, but the the fact is that they just look cheap. Like, it doesn't look like a professional jersey or an authentic jersey. It looks like something you'd buy off a Chinese website to wear to the game. I'm pretty sure I've got one of those somewhere. But and I know other people that have. I know people that have Ja Morant, and he's over there on my poster. They have Ja Morant Chinese bought jerseys when he was with Murray State, because you couldn't get a Murray State Ja Morant jersey. NIL wasn't legal yet, so they were buying Chinese jersey or buying jerseys off a Chinese website. So like, and there's nothing wrong with having that, but that's a Chinese website. Like, you know what you're buying. You're buying it at a cheaper price to get something that you can't get otherwise, or that you just want cheaper. And you don't care that it doesn't look right. But when you're paying $130 or whatever for an MLB jersey, you want it to look good. You don't want it to look like a piece of crap. You don't want it to look like it's off a fake website. Like, you don't want that. And that's what these jerseys look like. Not just what the players are wearing, but what the fans are buying. So I think there's a lot of backlash out of this. There's a lot of memes on the internet making fun of it. And Fanatics, Nike, and MLB are all getting the crap, like, talked out of them on social media and put down. And I think this is going to have negative impact on Fanatics sales and jersey sales until this is corrected, because you're going to see a lot of pile-on of, like, this is just greed. Like, it looks like corporate greed. We're going to make the jerseys cheaper and continue to sell them for the same amount, and it's not even that good of a product. So there's a lot of backlash over it, which there should be. It's MLB. You should have good looking uniforms. You should have pants that aren't see through. And you have teams that are pushing back on this. I think the Kansas City Royals and I think the St. Louis Cardinals. I know the Kansas City Royals for sure. They've pushed back on this where they kept the lettering big on the back of the jersey, like the names. Like if you just Google some of the uniforms, what they look like, the lettering is tiny. And then the way that they curve it around, like there's a guy on the Rangers that's a rookie. Like his name curves around the entire number, like in the entire outside. Which part of it's just he has a long name, but just the way that they do the lettering and everything, like you could get it to fit on there. Like you could do it better. Like there's players that had like Jared Saltalamacchia had a super long name, but they fit his jersey or fit his name like across the shoulders and it just slightly curved down. But like this guy, that's just like it's almost like they just did a circle around the number. Like it just looks poor. Like it it's not right. The MLB's got to correct this. The Kansas City Royals push back against it and are wearing uniforms more like last year. The St. Louis Cardinals, I think, have had pushback and are wanting to do more uniforms. And as time goes on, I think more and more teams, by the time opening day comes at the end of March, teams will be wearing probably jerseys more like last year, just wearing last year's jerseys because these uniforms suck. They do. There was someone that pointed out the Los Angeles Dodgers how they have the cursive writing across the front of the jersey. That like when the jerseys are button up, MLB jerseys have like buttons up the middle. That there's like a clean cut. So like here on my Murray State shirt, like the button would go between Murray and State. Clean break between the words. So it looks clean, whatever. But on the new jerseys that came out, like the button's like right in the middle of Y. Like it just doesn't look right. Like it's not. It's it just looks weird. Like it's like right in the middle of a letter. Like just make a clean break between the words, between like into like between the letters. Like it just looks bad. Like make I don't know. Like it looks bad. So MLB is going to really need to correct its jerseys, and it's going to hurt sales because people are not going to want to buy a crappy product for the same amount when it just looks bad and it looks cheap and not well made. And there's a lot of crap being thrown at it, which leads me to Rob Manfred. His comments were something along the lines of he thinks over time Nike will be proved right. I don't think so. Rob Manfred is, besides politicians, probably the most bold-faced liar I've ever heard anything from. Like he makes stuff up out of thin air and just like, yeah, people will love this. I don't know how he's still employed. I don't know how he's still commissioner. I'll do a video in the future over, hopefully here, I'm going to do a video here soon about the state of MLB, and he's going to get a lot of flack in that video. Because he's a horrible commissioner. He's run the show horribly. He needs to be replaced with someone better. Just put me in charge already. Like I could do a much better job than Rob Manfred. Even Theo Epstein, who I'm not huge on him being commissioner because I would have some concerns with him, but he would be a much better commissioner than Rob Manfred because at least he's not going to lie to the fans and let these scandals unfold and just make it all about pushing for money and what the owners want. I think that there would be more. Um, there would be more things about the integrity of the game and what the fans want, and more discussion around that than just simply pushing what the owners want or what the commissioner's office wants. I think there'd be more of an open dialogue there. So Commissioner Manfred really needs to go. I know recently he announced after 2029 he's retiring, but that's still not soon enough. Like this guy's just horrible, just a horrible commissioner. He's driving baseball into the ground. Now I know attendance and ratings did go up last year. I think that's more to do with pace of play. But as I said, I have a video that I'm going to put together on the state of baseball. I'm going to make it my annual state of baseball address. because someone needs to talk about it. I've got some ideas for what can make MLB better. But before I get onto a soapbox, let me get off the soapbox before I even get on it. We've got some more stories to cover here in sports. So, as you know, some of my previous videos back in the fall covered the Rugby World Cup, and it kind of snuck up on me here. Is the annual most premier rugby international competition that takes place every year is the Six Nations. The Six Nations takes place every spring, I guess, kind of winter into spring. It's amongst six of the better team. Really, yeah, it's six national teams in Western Europe, and five of them have really big historic roots in rugby, and then the sixth one's kind of newer, but kind of maybe in that rising category, that kind of second tier of rugby. But so the Six Nations is an annual competition amongst Ireland, Scotland, England, France, Wales, and Italy in rugby every year. You play every team once, and at the end of 5 games, whoever has the most points in the standings wins. They use the same point system as the Rugby World Cup group stage did. You get 4 points for a win, 2 points for a draw, 0 points for a loss. But there are bonus points. If you score 4 or more tries in a game, you get 1 point. And if you lose a game by less than 7 points, you get 1 bonus point as well. So you can have a loss and get 2 bonus points for scoring 4 tries and also losing by less than 7 points. But there's also another rule where if you win all of your games, it's called a grand slam, and they award you, I think, 3 extra bonus points to make sure that you outright win the league and you don't have to tie it with someone, because previously there was a team who went undefeated but had to have like a tie. They like shared the title with another team because the other team had enough bonus points that they caught up, even though they had like a loss on the year. But Ireland won it last year, and going into the Rugby World Cup, it's what made a lot of people think that they were the best team. What's why they were ranked number 1 in the world last year. They performed a grand slam last year. They won all of the games in the Six Nations tournament and won it. They won all 5 of their games. And this year, it looks like they might repeat that. They've played 3 games so far in this year's iteration of the Six Nations. They're in their 3-0. They have 15 points. They've got 12 points for their wins, and they have 3 bonus points. They have 105 points for and 24 points against. So they're pretty much dominating their competition. They've beat Italy, Wales, and France. Those are the 3 bottom teams in the standings so far. They have yet to play Scotland and England, the 2 teams that are kind of nipping on their heels. England has 8 points in the standings. Scotland has 9. Scotland's in second place. Scotland did lose to France, though, earlier in the year. And I think there was some controversy in that game over a call or two. I'd have to go look that up. I can't remember exactly. Um, but France is in fourth with only 6 points. They've won one, drawed one, and lost one. Wales and Italy are tied for last with 3 points apiece. And Italy got 2 points off a draw with France, and Wales has gotten theirs off of 3 bonus points so far. So yeah, it's super exciting. Ireland looks to be the dominant team. I know they've yet to play Scotland or England, but they handled France pretty well, who beat Scotland. And England is not what it once was in rugby. I do think that Scotland and England will give Ireland a bigger game or harder time than France did. But Ireland is really good. I know Ireland didn't went out, unfortunately, to New Zealand in the round of 6. Was the round of 6? No, it was the round of 8 in the Rugby World Cup. Yes, the round of 8. I know that they went out in the first elimination round, unfortunately, to New Zealand. But Ireland is a formidable team. They have great talent, and they play ball together. They know how to pass well. They're just a phenomenal team. So I think that they're going to win the tournament, and they've been exciting so far. The next games in the Six Nations are this next Saturday. Italy plays Scotland, England plays Ireland, and Wales plays France. And then the last weekend of the tournament is on Saturday, March 16th. All three games will be played, I think, back to back to back. Wales and Italy, Ireland, Scotland, and France, England. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting tournament. I think Scotland and England are going to make a play for Ireland, but I really think it's all going to come down to Scotland and Ireland playing on that last weekend because I should have an easy win this next Saturday over Italy. Ireland's going to beat England, and it's just going to come down really to who can win between Ireland and Scotland. But let's go back to the table real quick here. Ireland's ahead by 6 points. So Scotland's going to get, yeah, Scotland's going to withdraw within striking range if they beat, because they should be able to get a bonus point off of 4 tries against Italy, and they got to hope that Ireland doesn't get a bonus point against England and just stay in competition that last game, because it looks like it really could come down to that last weekend between Ireland and Scotland there. Other news is that I have, and this is my last thing before I close the video. I know it's been going on a little over 20 minutes now, but the Big Ten and SEC have announced an advisory committee over college sports, and there's talks now of a 14-team college football playoff to go from the 12 teams that we've not even had yet, that's supposed to be next year, to already forming plans for a 14-team playoff where the top 2 teams would have a bye. And some people are talking about that the Big Ten and SEC winners would have those top 2 seeds, which is wrong. It should be wrong. You shouldn't be guaranteed winner of your conference to get automatically a bye. But also out of this, there's been news of a team that I'm a fan of, Notre Dame, in football, that they might have to join a conference in this, because in the 12-team format, and probably in the 14-team format as well, conference winners are going to get higher seeds. And in the 12-team format next year, the top 4 conference winners get a bye. So there's going to be an incentive to win your conference, which Notre Dame is not in college football. So there's some talk that Notre Dame might join a conference. Now, you might say, well, Will, they're never going to join a conference. And that might be so. As someone who loves Notre Dame, I would love Notre Dame to join a conference. I think that there's a lot better opportunities in a conference. Like, I just look at the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, and look at all the historic rivalries they have, the pride it is in the conference, the pride in winning the conference, and I think Notre Dame would just greatly benefit from that. Being able to have yearly rivals with other top teams and competing for a conference title, and not just to try to get a bowl game or to make the playoffs. It gives something more and more vested value, and I think Notre Dame should join a conference. I would love to see it. Also, before I close, I have to mention my Murray State Racers here. My men's team, the Murray State men's team, has not played that well, unfortunately, this season's kind of been a down year for us. We lost at senior night at home against our arch rival Belmont, and we lost again today to Indiana State, the top team in the Missouri Valley. But Arch Madness, the Missouri Valley tournament in St. Louis, is kicking off this Thursday. Murray State's playing in it. I don't know if all of the other games have been decided yet in the Missouri Valley, so let me pull that up real quick to maybe see if we can have a bracket. Let's see. So Murray's the 8th seed. So that means we will play. We'll play the 9 seed. We'll play Missouri State in the first round. That could be a tough game. Missouri State's a decent team. I think we struggled with them earlier this year. I think we won one, lost one against them. That's going to be a tough matchup for us if that's who we're playing. The women, though, the Murray State's women, though, their senior night was today at home against um, against Indiana State. The men played on the road against Indiana State, and our women played at home against Indiana State. Our women won in formidable fashion. Um, we won 87-70 in that game, and we had 6 seniors. 2 of them were not able to play due to injuries. They've been out for most of the year, but our other 4 seniors got to play. They all scored. It was a great game, and our women look pretty good. And they've actually had a really good season. They just missed out on. I don't know if that's well, actually, they still have more. They still have more regular season games. I forgot that the women have another week. So Murray State's women, they have 2 more games. They play at Illinois State, who we beat earlier in the year in formidable fashion at home. So beating them would be nice. And they're currently in the 4th seed. So if we could beat them, we can move up into the 4 seed or a tie for the 4, which gets a first round bye in the Missouri Valley tournament. And then the last game of the season is at Bradley, who's towards the bottom of the standings. They're tied for last place at 2-16 in conference play. Murray State's 11-7 in conference play, 18-9. Murray State's women has a good team this year. We've built a good program, and we have some really good players with our star Caitlin Young, who's over 2,000 career points and scored 27 today. I believe she's actually up there in the nation for scoring. Let me see. Yeah, she's 33rd in the nation right now and scoring at 19.1 points per game. And our other seniors today were Hannah McKay out of Winsboro, great player. Kaysen Connor, I think she's graduating early. She scored, I think, 5 points. Bria Sanders Woods, I believe she's a 5th year. She was at Murray when I was there. Which actually all of these girls except Kaysen, because she's graduating a year early, were there when I was at Murray. And then the 2 players who didn't play, Charlie Settles and Lucia Operto. All of them great players, and I just love watching these girls play. It's been a great season for them, and I love to see where Coach Turner has taken this team. I think they're heading in the right direction. I know losing 6 seniors, I know 2 didn't really play all the time with Charlie Settles and Lucia Operto, but they're great teammates, and you see the leadership and the camaraderie they have with the rest of the team. Losing Caitlin Young, Hannah McKay, Bria Sanders Woods, Kaysen Connor, those are 4 really good players who play, who start. So losing them is going to hurt next year, but I think Murray has some good players coming up and some good recruits coming in, hopefully. I love to see where Coach Turner's taking this program, and hopefully we'll be good again next year. This video has gone on long enough. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is Caitlin Clark the best women's college basketball player all time? Is she the best women's basketball player all time? What are your thoughts on a 14-team college football playoff? Let me know your thoughts on the MLB Jersey Scandal. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.